What's up, all? JC3 here, the baller of YouTube, the general, and welcome back to the third year in a row of NBA Finals live streams. Very excited to get this going again. I gotta say, this is what happens once a year, and I probably should stream some more. I might do something for the draft, but this is my main time that I'd like to stream and interact with all of you in the comments. It is officially now 10:31 Pacific time. That's 1:31 Eastern. So if you're up at that time, or if you're in the mountain, you're in the central, wherever you're at, I'm looking forward to chat with you here. And obviously, if you did not catch us live and you're watching the replay, keep watching it and comment down below, because I will make sure to respond to every single comment that is worth responding to. Like, if you're not a troll, I'll respond to you, basically. All right. So here we go. I'm already seeing some people out here. I'm just going to acknowledge a couple of the early risers, or I guess the early birds, because it's not really early risers. It's late at night right now. Could be early morning somewhere. This account used to be George Williamson. I'm glad you're still doing the live stream reactions. That's Philip Hatfield now. Great game, Philip Hatfield. Angel, Cuevas, hello. What up, Mike Plays? L King left a comment way before the stream even started with the hashtag #WeTheNorth. And so what I actually want to do at the beginning of each one of these live streams is just go over a little bit of the top moments from the night. So let's go ahead and get that recap, some of the top moments from tonight's live stream. Let's get it started. So the first thing that I wanted to look at, right here is Curry and Drake. So Drake showed up into the game with some Nike Shox BB4. That's Vince Carter's old shoe. They're actually re-releasing that in the end of June. Good move by Nike to bring back some of the retros. But anyway, he showed up in those shoes, and he showed up in a Del Curry jersey. All right, so Aubrey Drake, okay, as Klay Thompson's going to refer to him by his formal name. But, yeah, very polite, Klay Thompson. Anyway, this picture right here is with Steph Curry, and obviously Drake, or Aubrey, as I could refer to him as that in this series, if we're going very formal and proper. Canadian, eh? All right. Shows up in a Del Curry jersey. Now, obviously, Steph's dad played for them, and Steph was in middle school at the time, so he has some roots from up there in the north. But basically, kind of a who's your daddy type moment. And there's a funny caption on this, actually, when you bring up Pusha T in a rap comment. And the first picture was, everything's good, Drake smiling at him. This is what happens when you bring up Pusha T. Probably some good who's your daddy words going on right here. Drake is a master troll, and so I have to shout that out right there. But I don't want to give him too much attention. All right, I don't want him to feel too good about himself. Another tweet from Marcus Thompson. He covers the Warriors. I believe he covers them for The Athletic. If not, I apologize. He's written some good books. Curry claps as the final seconds ticked away. He slaps hands with Draymond. It's on. So basically, with all that said, oh, there's Keith right there, tuning in live. Shouts out to my man, Keith Osborne. Probably got this notification on his phone. We doing this. Anyway, let's get back to this, man. I'm going to be kind of interrupted by some of the chat, but this is the reason why I do it. All right, it's about connecting with y'all. So this basically right here kind of tells me about the night tonight. Right? It was kind of a feel-out game, and a bunch of people, not on YouTube, just in passing, throughout the days have asked me, who are you picking for this game? Who are you picking? Who you think? And that's a popular question, and it's always one I was not able to answer. Let me go ahead and get my face on here for y'all, so y'all can see me out here. Let's see. Right there. There we go. What's going on, people? What's going on, people? This is for Keith. We repping HGA right here. All right, if y'all know what it is, y'all real one. Pancakes, comments, Golden State Warriors in 6. I want to get to all of your comments. So, hey, while I'm making my opening remarks, which I want to take about 3 to 5 minutes on this, and then I want to get to questions. Because we're on somewhat of a delay how YouTube does their streaming, start typing your questions now. And so by the time I'm done with my remarks, I can answer them. And so there's a couple of notes I wanted to go over. First of all, back to my little story. I don't bet, but this would be a terrible game to bet on, because Golden State has been off since last Monday. So it was like 10 days they've been off, somewhere in there. Yeah, about 10 days. And you just didn't know if they were going to come out rusty. You just didn't know if they were going to bring it. And Toronto, it's not like they just got finished playing. I mean, it was Saturday night, but still, I mean, that's considerably less time than the Warriors, about half the amount of time in between the end of the Eastern Conference Finals and the start of the NBA Finals. This was the first finals that the Warriors have lost under Steve Kerr, finals game 1, that is. He's 4-1 all time. Their 5th finals that they're in, obviously. And this is the first finals in the last 5 years the Warriors are starting on the road. So a little bit different. It's the first finals game outside of the country. Just to hear that, when I was listening to the beginning of the game, just to hear that was kind of mind-blowing. Like, wow, it really is happening. Like, Canada is having their first finals game. But, so it was a tough game. I never could really give a straight answer to those people, too. I didn't really know who to pick. I was just like, well, if this happens, this could happen. If this happens, it was kind of like I said, a feel-out game. And a couple of highlights I want to point out from it. As you may know, Pascal Siakam, some guys call him the poor man's LeBron. Really, I don't want to get into comparisons with LeBron. I mean, he's in an upper echelon of stars on his own. But Siakam dropped 32, 8, and 5 in this game. He went 14 for 17 from the field. He had 11 straight field goals made, which is the longest such streak in the last 20 years in the NBA Finals. 11 straight field goals. And if you watch the game and if you watch the highlights, you saw that he was getting out and getting a lot of easy layups. And so he got those points there. He had 32 points, as I mentioned, and that is the most in a Finals debut since Kevin Durant back in 2012. And speaking of Kevin Durant, now I don't want to overreact. One of my main points I want to make from this live stream about Game 1 is I don't want to draw any conclusions. I told someone tonight I will start doubting the Warriors when they lose 4 games. All right? I've done this thing the last 3 years. The Warriors have been in the finals the last 5 years. You don't doubt them until really it's over, okay? As we saw in 2016. When that buzzer went off in 2016, the Cavs won, it finally set in like, oh, wow, they actually lost. Game 1 in a 2019 finals on the road after being off 10 days, I'm not drawing any conclusions, okay? But with all that being said, Kevin Durant, I said it after he got injured in Game 5 of the Houston series. I said they may not be able to even win a series without him. They took down Portland. They're going to need him in this series because the Raptors have 2 standout guys at that forward position. Kawhi Leonard, obviously, who I just put a video out on. You're going to want to go check that out after this, or maybe get your sleep and check it out in the morning. Kawhi Leonard, his effect on the NBA, obviously noted in that. And then Pascal Siakam, who comes out tonight, 32 points. The Warriors obviously didn't really game plan for him. Their game plan was very similar to what we saw against Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers. Their goal was to shut down Lillard, and if somebody else is going to beat them, it's got to be, say, a Rodney Hood or a Cantor or somebody else. They tried that same thing with Kawhi Leonard tonight. I'm going to look it up right now. I remember hearing it earlier, but I want to get you the accurate numbers. Kawhi only shot 14 field goals tonight in 43 minutes, and he was only 5 for 14 for 23 points. Now, at the same time, 23 points, Marc Gasol had 20 points, and Siakam had 32. So you have 3 starters out of 5 scoring at least 20 or above. Compared to Golden State, you got Curry had 34 tonight. He dropped in 4 threes on 8 of 18 shooting. Klay Thompson had 21. Other than that, it wasn't anything really spectacular from the rest of the players. Danny Green put in for Toronto, if we want to talk about now. Another starter, 11 points, and he had 3 threes. He'd be making those threes in the finals if we remember back to 2014 when he, I believe, broke a record for most threes in the finals. And so, probably broken now by Curry, but I remember when he set that back in 2014 Spurs Heat. Back to my point, the Warriors' game plan was for Kawhi. It seemed to work, but at the same time, you got to be able to compensate for other teams. Klay Thompson mentioned in an interview that they're not very familiar with Toronto. Not an excuse to why they lost, but it is a team that they're not used to seeing. I mean, they only saw them twice this year. They did lose both games. In one of those games, there was no Steph Curry. Kevin Durant went crazy up in Toronto. That was back in, I believe, December. And then you had December. And then you had another game at Oracle where there was no Kawhi Leonard. And so really it is fresh. It's new. I mean, I've enjoyed seeing the matchups against them versus LeBron James, Warriors that is, against LeBron in the past finals. And this is a new experience, right? And Toronto is fired up, all right? You got, basically, as Drake says, this is a college town. And I don't want to just quote Drake because he's Drake, but he is true. I mean, some stuff he says is true, and that is true. There's a lot of passion up there in Toronto, and it showed tonight. They were very excited. I got to say, I'm happy for them. As someone like has been an advocate for the Warriors and how they've been good for the league and the greatness of Curry, Kevin Durant. I mean, I'm happy for Toronto. Like, I don't have anything against Toronto. I'm glad that they won, and I'm going to be as objective as I possibly can because I just want to see good basketball at the end of the day. I'm glad they got there, glad they got a win, but at the same time, I'm not going to draw any conclusions. There's really not a big, wow factor to take away that I want to, clickbait this live stream up with or anything like that. I really just want to get to your comments and see your reaction because mine is more sort of like I said, it was a feel-out game. We'll see what happens going forward. Siakam did good. We're going to have to see, who they're going to shift to put on Siakam, stuff like that. But Kawhi, Iguodala seemed to be guarding Kawhi most of the night. Now, he is dealing with a nagging hamstring or thigh. Obviously, the rest didn't help him recover. He was dealing with that in the last series. Everybody's injured at this point, right? It's about who's going to pull through. Those are my remarks. Like I said, nothing like crazy, oh my gosh, he said that. It's a hot take. All right? It's probably pretty cold up in Toronto. And they put the chill in Golden State. So we'll see. A lot of the Warriors players weren't tripping either. All right? Even if they were, they probably wouldn't show it, but they weren't tripping. All right, they knew that this was a feel-out game. They knew that this is a game they could potentially lose. Klay said our goal is to come up here and steal one. Now they got to in game 2, and that's the big game to watch, and I'll definitely be back after that. Let's get to all of your feedback here. All righty. We got our man Alex in here too, man. We got a lot of good guys in here. We got a lot of good guys in this stream. I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy about that. Okay, so let's read some of this. Philip Hatfield. So obviously, people are saying that if KD returns, it shifts into the Warriors' favor. But don't you think that Kevin would have a rough time coming back from an injury and trying to adjust to the finals? Very good point, Philip. I feel like we just expect these guys to come back and just dominate instantly. But the severity of their injuries, and the rust factor, if Durant hasn't even been shooting, or who knows what he's been able to do, we expect him to come back and be the killer KD that he's been in the past couple of finals, or even in this playoffs. I don't know about that right away. And, the Warriors are going to depend on him in that, looking maybe for a Game 3 return. He still hasn't practiced. Basically, what I'm saying is that I don't think we can expect him to come back and be that killer yet. He's going to have a minimum amount of time to adjust. And because of the type of game that Durant plays, focusing on very efficient shots, not trying to do anything like super spectacular, he's just very solid and he shoots very efficient, high percentage shots, especially because he can get to the elbows and pull up over people. He may be able to get himself back in a rhythm easier, but I don't think we can expect him to come out and absolutely dominate first off. So good point. They're going to need him though. But I don't know if they're going to get him at full level, full speed, if you know what I'm saying. Killer KD mode. Now, we did see DeMarcus Cousins come back tonight. I'm going to check real quick the box score because I think he only played a couple of minutes. He wasn't out there for that long. He played 8 minutes. He had 3 points. I heard Kerr say he made a couple of good passes. I don't want to say he's a liability defensively, but he is someone that the Raptors are going to look to run against. Tim Legler was saying this on SVP Sports Center. When he was in there, the Raptors looked to push the pace even more because he had that quad tear. And so he's not going to be able to make quick, shifty movements and quick, start-stop movements to get back on defense. And so, he's going to get out there and push and do what he can. But I feel like sometimes we put unfair expectations on these athletes to come back and be themselves fully, and that's just not right. golly, we get sore from a workout and we're like, oh, I can't really run today. And it's like, this guy's tearing his quad and we expect him to come back and dominate. I mean, come on now. I mean, what are we talking about? All right. Let's see here. What else we got on here? Shout out Big Burly Brand, Alex Burleson. Siakam is an X factor in this series. Also, most improved player. He is up for most improved player this year, along with D'Angelo Russell and I think De'Aaron Fox. Now, if you know me, I did put out a video on D'Angelo Russell about a month ago, and it did pretty well. Thank you guys. And I just talked about basically how he went from kind of the cellar to now, leading a Nets team that could be a big free agent factor. So with that said, relating this back to the NBA Finals and Siakam, I think that Siakam is in that running, could very well win it. I'm personally going to go for D'Angelo Russell, although I like De'Aaron Fox too. I mean, he did great things for the Kings this year. But if you look at the levels, De'Aaron Fox and the Kings didn't make the playoffs. Russell got bounced, and Siakam is putting up 32 in the first Finals game, the most in a debut since Kevin Durant in 2012. I think he might win the most improved player, even though it's not based on playoffs. But we see that he really is improved. So good points by Burleson there. Philip is lighting up these comments. I love it because he was there last year. This guy's been here. All right, we've been here. Who are your X factors this series? That's a really good question, and I'm going to go ahead and scan the rosters because it's not honestly something I really thought about. I always thought like the X factor would be, well, what if Kevin Durant comes back, or what if Cousins, what type of impact? But I don't want to give you that because those guys are stars already. I want to give you somebody that's already playing. So I think for the Raptors, what we saw tonight, Siakam obviously could be considered your X factor, but he is one of their main players. I think Fred VanVleet was the main X factor in the last series against the Bucks, and tonight he had 15 points. He hit 1 3, but was 5 for 8 from the field. And so VanVleet, I'm going to go with the X factor for Toronto. And then for Golden State, I'm really thinking that the guy that could do some work for them and really step up there, not one of the stars coming back. We're looking at Draymond Green. He had 10 points tonight. Drake was, messing with him. He had 10 points. He had 10 rebounds, 10 assists, triple-double. He needs to bring that energy. Like, he is that X factor. He will give them the opportunity to continue to be in these games, win these games. And, he's such a valuable asset to the team. We saw what happened when he went out. The 2016 Finals led to the 3-game run of Kyrie and LeBron, as Skip Bayless would like to call it. I'm quoting Skip Bayless, a super highway to the basket with no Bogut and no Green to guard LeBron. But, I mean, it is true in a way. I mean, even Skip Bayless says some true things sometimes. So I'm going to go with Draymond Green and Fred VanVleet, respective teams there. All right, what are we sitting at? We'll do this live stream a couple more minutes here. Let's see. Can Draymond guard Siakam? Well, obviously not tonight. I don't really know who the primary – I don't think there was a primary defender on Siakam like there was on Kawhi Leonard with Iguodala and Kawhi Leonard. I think Siakam got a lot of transition baskets. There was one play in particular where Draymond was the only guy back. Sean Livingston didn't run back, and so you had a situation where – Danny Green is in the corner, Siakam's got the ball, and on the break, and you have Draymond Green. And so now it's because Livingston did not run into the play, Draymond Green's got to choose, am I going to go guard a three-point shooter, Danny Green, or am I going to stop the ball? He stops the ball, which basketball 101, kick to the corner, Green hits a 3. And so I don't know if they're going to switch Green primarily onto Siakam. I think that'd be a great matchup, though, considering that it was a mix in kind of the last finals between Iguodala and Green to guard LeBron James. I think that Draymond would want that challenge, considering Siakam is like basically your poor man's LeBron in terms of just like, he has size. He's very similar in the way he plays. He likes to get to the basket. I think Green could pick that up and really make an impact in the next game, considering that. And then what's your favorite team from Pancakes? I see he's got the Giannis Bucks, little icon, picture icon. My favorite team, I don't see, in the past, I was all Golden State, and people thought my coverage was really biased. I think, at least, I've done a better job of being more objective. I lean towards, see, this is how I like to say it. I'm not a fanatic, okay? I'm not a fanatic in any way, but I lean toward favoring Golden State. Just because, look, main thing is, though, I just appreciate good basketball, okay? Golden State is a team that I like to watch because, first of all, they're the first team I watched back in the day with Baron Davis in 06. Secondly, you know, just they have great players. Like, how can you not like watching that great basketball? And at the same time, I like seeing Toronto play great basketball. Kawhi Leonard, I mean, insane these playoffs. What Siakam did tonight was great. So I guess I can say I'm going to lean toward Golden State. I like to see them win, which I know is, you know, a lot of people. But, you know, I don't care. They're my favorite team in the league. But as a reporter, I'm going to objectively analyze the game. Okay, I'm not going to let some type of a Skip Bayless type bias come into my work where he was all for Kawhi with the Spurs and now he's not for Kawhi. You know, I don't want to report like that. I want to objectively report. So anyway, good question though at the end of the day. We'll take one more from Burleson again. I thought coming out the half, Warriors were going to catch up and then blow them out. Yes, they usually have that third quarter run in them, but we did not see that tonight. The scoring from quarters was 25-21 Toronto in the first, 34-28 Toronto in the second. Golden State only outscored Toronto by 3 in the third, 32-29, and then they got outscored in the fourth, 30-28. And so, you know, you're looking at that, and there was not that big third quarter run that just absolutely blew everything open. The Raptors did a really good job of, you know, it's going to sound cliche, but both teams felt each other out, and they weathered the storm. They weathered the runs. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a solid Game 1 win. Usually, I mean, we're used to seeing Golden State win this game, but Toronto got in. They got it done. And I'm going to read one more comment before I will see you again on Sunday night. And I'll give you, you know, some options to watch on my channel until that point. But as a LeBron fan, this finals is much better than last year. This is Philip Hatfield. Regardless of who is on the floor, Toronto plays with heart and great defense. I can truly appreciate this effort and heart from both. This was the moment. This is the moment that they've been waiting for. All right, this is their moment. They traded for Kawhi. Masai Ujiri is a fearless. I mean, he really is a fearless GM. Like, he just goes out there, makes a move, trades their franchise player for Kawhi Leonard, gets a new coach, okay, brand new coach, never even been a year of experience. Him and Kawhi look like Lil Bow Wow and that actor from Like Mike. All right, y'all need to look up that picture if you haven't, because that's funny stuff. But anyway, there's that. I mean, yeah, I mean, Siakam has this big role. And so Toronto, I believe, you know, what we're seeing is a really good team unit. And, you know, as a closing remark, one of my last points is going to be that we need to really respect what Toronto has done in terms of their run to these finals. They've had the toughest road. All right, Golden State had to play Houston. The Clippers gave them some challenges, and Portland was kind of a cakewalk for them because they just matched up good. But Toronto, I mean, they had the Magic, okay. Philadelphia, no joke, 3 stars on that team, right? Simmons, Butler, and Embiid, they beat them 7 games. Giannis, he's up next. Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Giannis, and Kawhi beats him, right? Not just Kawhi. Kawhi had a big part in it. The Raptors beat him. And so, at the end of the day, I mean, Philadelphia and Milwaukee, those are 2 of the best teams. I mean, you can possibly argue top 5 teams in the league that Toronto beat. So, I mean, they earned it. They played well in Game 1. We'll see what happens in Game 2, what type of adjustments need to be made. The feel-out game has been done. Congrats to everybody up in the North for, hey, you got yourself a finals win. You get to the finals and you get the first win. And so, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see keep monitoring if Kevin Durant's going to come back. Who knows? I really want to see him and Kawhi Leonard, but unfortunately, man, I wanted this series to be him and Kawhi Leonard to really battle it out. Who is the best small forward in the NBA? All right? With LeBron, all respect to LeBron James, we know he's possibly the best player, best small forward, but if we want to consider it second best small forward, maybe even second best player in the NBA with that matchup right there, I mean, that would have been great to see. But unfortunately, it just looks like injury is not going to let that happen. I mean, if we do get it, it'll be late in the series, and who knows what the type of shape those guys are going to be in at that time. So with all that, that's all I got for you. This has been the Finals Game 1 live stream. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in live and to everybody who's going to tune in after the fact. Do not feel bad about yourselves. You're much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back Sunday, a couple of hours after the game, let you get your post-game ESPN fix, whatever you want to get in before I jump on here and give you some facts, all right? Give you some analysis. Thanks for watching. JC3 is out.